That's a really good point. And moving on to the personality type questions, whenever I've done them, I'm always torn in my mind between what I honestly feel and what I think that the employer is trying to get me to say. What advice would you give people who are doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be revisit the job description. It will be fairly clear in there what types of personality traits are important. So that's going to give you a big clue as to what they're looking for. But again, I'd echo that advice that don't let that overtly change how you would respond, because again, you'll only be placed in a job that you don't enjoy. There are some personality questionnaires out there that are far less transparent, so ones that are maybe have their roots in more of a clinical psychology background, where they're really hard to pick apart what actually they're trying to get at. I know there's one in particular that says, would you rather appreciate the beauty of a sunset or a well-made urn? Which is absolutely bizarre, and I believe that relates to a trait to do with creativity. But again, it's those kind of tests you really can't second guess. But the more predominant ones are things like, to what extent do you enjoy working as a team? To what extent do you enjoy being the centre of attention? To what extent do you X, Y, Z? And if you're applying for a job as a seismic scientist working in the Arctic, spending time on your own for months on end, then saying that you crave companionship and teamwork is unlikely to get you the job. But that if that's truly what you feel, then you probably shouldn't go for the job.
So I can understand with the numerical tests and the verbal reasoning tests, there's a pass mark. As you said, they expect the top 50% of people to go through. How do companies then use the results from the personality test to whittle down the people that they want? So I can imagine, they want people who work well in teams. So if you say, actually, sometimes I like working in a team, but sometimes I like working by myself, would they be looking for, is it as simple as looking for the people who answered that one way that they get no and the other people get yes?
There's two schools of thoughts on using personality questionnaire at this sifting stage. There are those that say you can reduce someone's personality to an algorithm and actually say, look, you need a certain number of points in inverted commas before you would be allowed through to the next stage. And there are others that say it absolutely should not be used in that simplistic way. And they say the entire purpose of a personality questionnaire is fulfilled by having an interview with that individual and digging underneath what they've said and trying to understand the rationale for their responses. So I think you're going to find two schools of thoughts. Some people that will have gone through the personality profile, which can be measuring anything between 3 personality traits all the way up to 32 plus different personality traits, and they will have defined for each of those where the ideal person will be. So that's in the hard version of the SIFT. In the softer version, what they'll be doing is saying, look, we won't even use that as a SIFT, but we'll use that to inform the probing at interview. So anything that seems to be contrary to what we'd expect, let's really ask them for more examples around that. Let's play devil's advocate for those that say they really do like the job aspects that we're looking for, and ask them for times when they've maybe not wanted to work on their own or not wanted to work as a team. So yeah, there's two ends of the spectrum on using personality for sifting, and I think you'll probably find both.